the Radio Misfits Podcast Network.
The Honest Edit Podcast. Unpacking the truth about life's messes, one honest conversation at a time. With your host, Scarlett, the no-fluff, get-it-done mindset coach, and Holly, your go-to for all things practical, balancing chaos with compassion.
Hi, y'all. Welcome to The Honest Edit. I'm Holly, and here's Scarlett, and this is my bestie, Adrian Haney.
Hi.
We're really excited to have her today. We're going to talk about the rawness of starting over and a profound transformation that Adrian has gone through, and like redefining what leadership is and what your life is. And I'm just really excited about this conversation. Adrian and I have known each other for over a decade.
Yeah, like 15 years.
Yeah. And so we've really grown up together. She has always brought so much wisdom and happiness to my life. She's like one of my ride or dies. So yeah, we're really excited to be here. I met Adrian when I was, working marketing for Raising Cane's. She lived down the hallway from me, and
Lived is probably the right word.
yeah, we worked. Yeah, we worked a lot. So I worked in marketing for Raising Cane's, and she came on as the EA for the COO, right?
For operations.
And that guy was wild. That was a weird time. And I was just like, who is this girl? Like, she always had a smile on her face. She was so like she could articulate any thought, always like leading the way and problem solving. And
It's her nice way of saying I was bossy.
but always in the good ways. And you know, those jobs like in your early 20s are just, I think, so transformative of like your career. And I was, just getting through the day, but then like made some really amazing relationships that
Some people say they like to use the word trauma bonded, and I'm like, that's nice to say, but you can be trauma bonded with a person and not really necessarily want them in your life all the time.
Yeah.
So like, I don't really like to describe that as our friendship basis. I feel like we're in this massive learning growth place in our life. We were just learning so much and drinking from a fire hose every single day. And we were there for it. And we were like, give me more. I can handle more. And I think both of you and certain other people on our team were really high capacity performers. And I don't know if I am anymore, but I definitely feel like I was then. I think I could be if I wanted to be. I think it's just a choice now. But I think that's what really drew us to each other, is we're like, here's someone who can get stuff done. I like her point of view. I like her honesty. I like her vision for how this is going to work. And I think we both had, if we didn't always have alignment on how it should have been done, we understood the goal and we were both there for it, So I think that was always really something that drew us together.
So for a new person like me, just meeting you and our audience, so Holly's told me a little bit about your background. You're a leader and you're a coach. You're making a huge impact. Tell us a little bit about your background.
So I actually, where do you start with this? So my background really out of school was in administrative professionalism in the office, from anywhere from, I was always a supporter or some type of assistant or chief of staff for one of the top 3 executives in any sort of corporation. I've also always been part of a growth organization. So I've never been a member of a company that's, a 100-year-old financial firm. The companies that I have always participated in were either high cultural, influential companies, planning on growth, using the people that they work for in a really like charismatic way for their growth. Invest in their people, but also like the people kind of are the foundation of their growth. And what I mean by that is like they understood we can't do it without these people. So we need these people to be bought in. So we need to make sure we know what's in it for them and for their long-term success, so that they feel comfortable helping us with our long-term success. So that really shaped my mindset and how I approached people. I remember working at an organization one time, and the CEO of this international, 20,000 plus employee company was talking about how important it is the person who's sweeping the parking lot is just as important as me who sits in this desk. Because like if he doesn't do his job, then people don't like what they come to see, and then it all trickles down.
Right.
And so that really resonated with me as a young person, that like what I did mattered. Whatever it was, what I did mattered as long as it aligned with our goals. So
I love that.
kind of my back.
Oh, that's very powerful.
Yeah.
So in terms of what led you up to what you do now, what's sort of the history on that? And I know that's like a total loaded question.
Okay, ladies, everyone, get your box of tissues ready. Yeah. We'll try to keep this as light as possible because there is like hope on the back end of it. But basically, I was in the middle of switching positions within my career, and my oldest son became terminally ill. Without going into the details, he was sick, and within 2 years he was gone. And it was a mysterious illness, so no one really knew how to handle it. No one really knew how to think about it. The doctors were studying him. So there wasn't this playbook on like how to proceed to like either make him better or find him his best life. So we were just constantly focusing our energy on love and patience and making him as comfortable as possible for as long as possible. That being said, during that time, I stepped away from working in corporate America in order to like spend as much time as I could with him and our family.
Absolutely.
Right as you had gotten to, I would say, the height of your career.
Absolutely.
VP, a
Yes.
huge company.
Yes.
Running the show.
Yes.
Doing all the build out for the new building. Just a key player.
Yeah.
And then this very weird thing happened, and you were like, wait, I have to be home now.
Right.
Yeah, and what's interesting is my son, before he got sick, literally like maybe 6 weeks before he got sick, he had come home from college with his girlfriend and had gone to church service that weekend. He wanted to take her to our church.
It's hard to believe that you already, right? My daughter's ready to go to college. It's hard to believe you had.
I remember being there, and I was like, who is this adult human leaving the house? He was just my little nugget. I just,
How did the boy is young?
yeah.
Got there like
We met when maybe like a couple years after we graduated high school. I was in college. I was still sort of hung up on someone else, and during kind of one of those breakups, I met Jack, and I really liked him. And then I went back to school, and we sort of broke it off a little bit. And then when we got back together, there was just no denying our chemistry and that our love for each other. And so we got together, and he was like, I want to have babies with you. I want to have babies with you. And I was like, I'm here for it. We did. We were like the first of our friends to have babies. And so our friends were all like, we're going out tonight. You want to go? And I'm like, no, I've got like a 6-month-old at home who's going to get up at 6 in the morning. So are you out of your mind?
So like I met Adrian, she had boys and like children, and I was just like elementary kids, and I was like funny at Holly, going to the bar, trying to like show up to work not hungover, and I'm like, wow, she's really got it together. Like, I want to be her when I grow up.
Children are that forcing function.
Oh yeah,
Hopefully for most people, but they definitely grow you up real fast.
Yes, they do.
Real fast. So
Hunter comes.
okay, so he comes home and he takes his girlfriend to church, and I was on a trip with my mom. We had gone on this like 3-week road trip up to the Redwoods and all these great places that we always wanted to spend time together in. And my dad had just passed away, so we were kind of getting out and enjoying life a little bit. And I come home, and Hunter's like, oh, you're home a day early. And he's like, well, we're about to go back to school, but I want to tell you about this service I heard this morning. And he goes, our pastor was talking about this book, and this book was by an author named David Brooks, and he wrote a book called The Second Mountain. And he said, Mom, this book is basically about the fact that you're living your life to try to get to this peak. And, like at some point you look around and you're like, I'm really doing it. I'm up here and I'm winning at life. And it's hard, but I've climbed all the way up this mountain. I'm at the peak and I'm just doing great. he's like, and then something will come by and knock you off that mountain and you stumble all the way to the bottom, even though it took you 20, 30, 40 years to climb this first mountain. He's like, something knocks you down. And then all of a sudden you're in this like valley and you look up and there's two mountains and you look at this last mountain and you're like heartbroken because you'd worked so hard to like scale it. And then you look over to the second mountain and it feels like, well, that's really where I'm supposed to be, but how am I going to do that again? How am I going to climb this second mountain? And he was like, so since I was transitioning businesses, he was like, so Mom, this is just, maybe you got knocked off your mountain and you're just starting again. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And he got me the book and all of this stuff. And so what's really interesting is like Hunter was really my messenger for what was about to happen in 6 weeks when we found him in a really dire place. And what happened to Hunter is, whatever happened in my career was not the thing that knocked me off the mountain, because I was still getting job offers for really great positions. It was what happened to Hunter that knocked me off the mountain. And so I'm on the climb right now. I'm like working out, getting strong, practicing things, trying new practices, failing, relearning, back into that crazy drinking from the fire hose learning mode. Yeah, everything's hard because I don't have a team of people to assign something. I don't have an IT department to help me make everything work when it's not working right. It's all on me. So my business partner Kelly and I this morning were like, we miss the guy down the hall that just made this work when they're like, we know how that is.
Urban and I were talking the other day about how many hats you wear as a small business owner, and how you're doing IT and you're doing HR and you're doing admin work, right?
Or bartender, or you're up.
Cheers to the bartender. Oh, yeah, that's cheers. So yeah, we get that.
But yeah, so that's really what kind of brought me to doing something different, and and being open to doing something different. And man, talk about an unlearning when you've worked since you were 14 years old and you went to college and you were told to get a great job and provide for your family. And what we do now, ladies, there's no one contributing to my 401k. There's no benefits package that are going to come to save you. And there's no one that's saying,
just do it.
Hey, here's some motivation. I need that by Friday. It's all self-driven. And that's kind of a wild place to be, because as we talked about earlier, we were always the go make things happen people. No. But sometimes it's easier to make things happen for other people than it is for yourself.
Yes.
I've been in my feelings this week, and I took a couple days to just feel my feelings, and I kind of rotted in bed for a little bit. And these women do not do that, but I do. And I was thinking about, I was telling myself,
who said that I didn't rot in bed on Tuesday when it was raining? And I was like, maybe a book today? But that's the thing is, like, when you're working for yourself, like, you work basically 7 days a week. So if it's Tuesday afternoon and 1 o'clock and you've been working since 7 and you're tired and it's raining, it's okay to, like, sit on the couch and read your book and have a cup of tea.
Or go take a bath at 2 p.m. and it's weird.
It's like so weird. It's like I'm not a day on neighbor because I never had that life.
Yeah, I needed it.
Do that.
Well, I told myself, I was like, I was trying to give myself a little self-love, but I was like, I'm really grateful for you and how you've created this space where you aren't held to this deadline or like held under the guide. Like, you got to get this project done. You got to get this deck done. You got to get this scheduled, all of these things. Like, I can be as lax as I want. And I know that I'm only hurting myself and I'm not using that language. Like, I know that like my client can wait 2 days for me to send them an invoice.
Yeah.
My partner can wait for me to get my head on straight before I send scripts for what I want to talk about in podcasts. My friend can wait a couple hours for me to have my time and space. And I think that we talk about that this a lot with our clients of like, you have to fill your cup. You have to fill your cup. I know we've all heard that, but like, you have to give yourself time to figure out what's really important to you and give yourself rest time and grace. And I feel like when,
totally.
I've been there through Adrian's journey. Obviously, she's my bestie. But I think that was so profound to me watching you and the family go through this is that you still were like hitting the gas when I was like, take a break. Because I feel like you were pre-programmed in your life to keep on going.
Yeah.
And then I think you, and I could be wrong, so I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like there was this phase of like, I'm going to take time and I'm going to do my grieving and I'm going to do my stuff. And I know, you know, these are things that I've identified that's important. But like we would have conversations of like, how do I start today? And today I got up and I'm going to say this, and it's a very sensitive and vulnerable. But the day after Hunter passed, you were awake and showered at the kitchen counter.
Yeah.
And I was waking up and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Why? Yeah.
Well, do you feel like that was just a sense of what you could control and that was a distraction for you versus what you couldn't control, which was the loss of your son?
I think it was more, partly. And also, I think that I was like, if I don't get up, I might never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if I don't get up, I might never. And, you know, we were actually told on a Monday at 2:30 that he was like in the active, you know, dying process. And then he died on Tuesday at 8:25 p.m. And so, you know, Holly mobilized and came over and really ran interference because we messaged people that he loved and that loved him and said, if you wanted to say goodbye, we don't know. Now's the time. And so it was a revolving door that day. And talk about someone that took on a lot of emotional weight. Holly was literally like the emotional gatekeeper. And at points, she would open the door and somebody would just walk into our house bawling and she would hug them and be like, I know, we all love him. So his friend's in with him right now, but when he's done, we'll make sure you have time. Like she was literally, you know, ushering people in to say goodbye to him. And so that we could sit in there with those people. And when he was literally taking his last breath, that's when Holly was like, I can't take it anymore.
Yeah, I lost her.
And she went outside and gave us the space to be with him. And but it was a very difficult moment, obviously. I mean, yeah, obviously, but at the same time, Jack's best friend Blair said it the most beautiful when he called us the next day to check in on us. He was like, you know, thank you for letting me be there, because he was basically Hunter's godfather, you know, and he was like, it was probably the most painful and beautiful thing I've ever been a part of, to like have so many people around him that loved him and to be with him. And so I knew that it could be, I know people that have lost children that were really never the same again. And I don't think I am either the same, but I just knew that like for my husband, for my son, I needed to get up. I just knew I had to get up and shower and wash, you know, like after you've been real emotional, like it's almost like taking a shower is like a baptism.
Yeah.
And you're like, let me just wash this away and down the drain. And like, it's going to build back up and come back out again. And I just got to wash this away. That was for me, what I needed to do is just keep moving every day. Don't stop so that you don't stay where you're at.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
It's very powerful. Because, yeah, I mean, most people couldn't do that.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that they can if they tell themselves just one foot on the floor, another foot on the floor. Like we sometimes will get into thinking and we start spiraling into the big picture thinking.
right.
But the reality is like, you know, after that, it was like, what do I do with my life? I've been taking care of him for 2 years. I don't know if I can go back to what I did before. And your world becomes very small. And I think it's important because like if your house is on fire, you can't worry about what's going on at the club down the street. You've got to worry about your house and what you're doing in your house, right? And so Michelle Obama said that one time where she's like, if people will worry about their house first and get their house in order and then worry about their neighborhood and then worry about their town and then worry about their country and then worry about their world, then people will have a little bit stronger of an alignment and how to move forward. But when your house is a mess, but you're out here telling other people how to do things,
Right.
you know, get your house in order first.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's really been my goal over the last couple years since we've lost Hunter, was to, you know, try to focus on keeping my house in order. And by that, I mean relationships, my family. I'm not just talking about vacuuming the rug, you know, I mean like my house in order, my body, my spirit, getting those things in order so that I could move out. And it does feel a lot slower.
But I feel like you've been able to do that because when you walk in, you have such a vibrant energy. I mean, you got we'll post the video, but these two broads were literally like dancing to get the energy going. We need some energy up. They've been recording.
Yeah, we had
Working all
a
day.
dance party. And that's what I'm like, that's one of the things that I've always been magnet towards you is that you have like such an amazing spirit and just a go-getter and like we're gonna figure this out. And I mean, we've had so many conversations of like, what do I do now? And it's like you get up, you put your feet on the floor, you go read a book, you go play in your garden.
Yes.
I
take my dopamine walks. My friend Kelly, who's my business partner, she said that every day she wakes up and she, takes her dopamine walk through the garden. And there's so much science behind actually being in nature and seeing blooms and how it produces serotonin in your brain and actually pumps your dopamine receptors. So that's one thing that I love about what I do now too, is I get to like help people provide that for their own lives.
Tell us what you do.
Yes, please.
So while Hunter was home, I am a constant matriculator. Like I love to continue to learn. And I was, for lack of a better word, somewhat trapped at home because he was non-verbal, he was non-communicable, he couldn't move. And so I found peace in like the times he was resting, getting out into the yard and spending time in the garden. And I've always loved kind of like making it cute, but I really started learning more about like the intricacies of it. I became a master gardener through a university here in Texas. And I started helping people with designs.
Amazing.
And then I took a class to learn how to do scaled architectural drawings of designs. So somewhat of a self-taught landscape designer. And so I have to do, for my certification, I have to do continuing education every year. And then I joined like native plant societies, different kinds of organizations that really focus on like adaptive and really great horticultural practices here. But
totally different than the boardroom.
Oh man, it's so different. And in
so there's more fulfillment in that, more purpose driven in that, more just sort of like what is your
it's just different. I think it's just different. Like I really loved what I did before, and I loved that one of the things I was doing was eliminating the review process for an organization and focusing on personal self-development and things like, focusing on making sure people were happy when they came to work every day or happy when they were with their work.
Yeah.
That was really great. I'm an excellent cheerleader for people. I love people and I believe in people, but I really enjoy what I do now. We actually had a consultation yesterday, and I'm getting to the point now that when I go into people's spaces, I'm almost like a beautiful mind, and like things are just like coming together, and it just literally like forms an image in front of me and what this space looks like. I listen to them, and I have a questionnaire I send them about all the things they like, how they really want to use that space, and I get that like a day or two in advance so that I can really process it. And then when I show up at their property, I take everything they've told me about their dreams for how they want to use their space. And it literally just goes, and then I have to figure out how to like put it on paper to communicate it. Right. So, and I'm sure that's like that for you guys when you go into someone's space and you see, and they tell you how they want to see their space and you're like, got it. We just need to move this stuff out, put this here and do that here. And I think that's a rhythm that comes with practice. Right. So just like
what Diana is reading people is really listening, asking the right questions as well.
Yes. And that our questionnaire is it's not overwhelming because we don't want to give people a lot of homework, but it's very thoughtful and like, how do you envision seeing your space down to, do you have any restrictions?
Yeah. What are you married to, or what do you don't want to give up, or what
any problem areas in your art, like things like that. But, for the most part right now, it was interesting. Yesterday, the person we went and saw, they knew more about plants than I did. Like they are so intelligent, and they had plants I had never seen in real life. And I was like, you have one of these. This is incredible. Look at this. It's gorgeous. They really knew plants, but they had no idea how to like build a space that let their plants shine. And this person is like a plant collector. They literally go and they kind of buy up plants that they have been interested in or learned about, and they just go home and stick it in the ground because they they know how to make it grow and they know how to make it be really healthy and successful. But their area has turned into a place that's just like work. And I'm like, I really want you to enjoy life more. And so like building spaces for her to go out and enjoy all that she's created in this incredible cottage garden was the most important thing for me. So the way I looked at it was like, Kelly and I's job is to like basically build a canvas with structure in which she can paint in. It's kind of like getting a creative brief in marketing. Yeah. Like you need to know what are the guidelines that you want me to create in, and then let me go blow it up.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I feel like that works with what we do as organizers too. Like we want you to be able to use your space and utilize, right, and it not be stressful and it not be cluttered. And so I love the beautiful mind. Because I'll go into spaces too, and I'll be like, oh, if we move this over here, and when you're in it, and that's why we all need landscape designer and all need organizers. It's like you go in with a fresh eye, and then you can see. And I think that I'm so glad that you and Kelly decided to do this, and one because I'm a benefit from that. I get to see my plans today for my new front yard. I cannot wait. But it really incorporated the order that you always had with work and, being a leader and helping to uplift individuals and make, their workspace and what they came to at work every day work for them and make them happy at it. And now it's just it just looks a little different.
Yeah. I think my gift is creating experiences. Like ultimately, I think whatever the widget is I decide to do, I think the magic that I would bring to that widget is what is the experience that the human will be having with this thing. And so that's really what my gift is. But it's interesting. We do all need people like us because I really struggle with my own. I have 2 backyards. And I have one backyard that I struggle with. And as a designer, I'm struggling with my own yard. It's like I need someone outside of myself to come in and do this and like design it and then let me bring in people to make that happen because I am kind of stuck in my own head and all of the ideas I have for it. I'm in paralysis analysis with it. And that's where I think hiring someone to come in and like really help you narrow down what you want and build it in the way that you can utilize it and it'd be great. I know how I want to experience my backyard, but I have way too many ideas because of what I do. What I want to do too. I'm like, do I want a fire pit here? Do I want an outdoor kitchen here? Would I like a little pool spool here? Would I like this here? And I'm like,
as an interior designer, I get that because it's like and things change or some in their clients. So I'm like, I want that in my home. Or I want black or I want whatever. And then you make all these changes and you go, oh, well, this isn't cohesive. And you need that sounding board. You need that other just sort of expert to come in and help you organize it. Basically.
And someone to say, yes, this idea is good. Just pull the trigger on it.
Right.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
That's really
you're overthinking it. Yeah.
I feel like we've had that conversation too. When you're like, what am I gonna do?
And you're like, just do it.
Just get up and start.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm so happy for that you have found this new venture, and it's called Lavender Lane Landscapes.
Yeah.
And it kind of started because you were like, am I going to go back to work? What am I going to do? I have to make some fun money.
I need to pay for my own plants that I love. Yeah. I need to pay for Pilates.
Yeah.
And I need to pay for pickleball. My husband's like, I got you everywhere else. And you can pay for your habits. So I'm in my
what did you do? So what did you do? You met this wonderful couple.
Yes.
And it kind of like evolved into you working this like very not big VP corporate job.
Yes. Yeah, it was organic for sure. Yeah, I met this woman who actually, her name is Rebecca Dempsey, and she has a social media blog. She's a social media influencer for her company called A Blissfulness. She is transplanted from California to Texas, and she's from kind of the northern area of California. So her and her husband bought kind of like a ranchy kind of area in north of Dallas. Mm-hmm. and built their dream house. And she's a designer as well, Scarlett, but very coastal. Everything's so light in the area, but the outside has like a Cape Cod feel. So she had, being a designer, she had a very clear point of view on the feeling she wanted outside to do. She had a Pinterest board with a ton of posts that were all very similar. So I knew exactly where she wanted to go, but our climate is so different here than another zone that she came from.
Yeah.
And so it was like, how can we make what the look that she's going for with what she has to work with here? And so we put together this incredible, basically it's a 5-year plan, because she's got gardens and she's got horse barns in the back that she wanted to like have, you know, certain entrances to, but she had to be able to get her horse trailer to because her daughter rides. And you know, she's got a computer, and as you guys know, being YouTubers at this point, YouTubers, but no, just seriously with your podcast, there's actually more desk time than just this conversation, right? So she spends a lot of time at her desk curating these incredible like Friday finds and articles about where people can find these great designer items that they see on her blog. And so she has her desk in front of this big, beautiful window. And so like our goal was like, let's make her view be incredible every day.
Yeah.
But it has to be native and adaptive. Otherwise, she's going to buy an expensive plant and put it in the ground here. She's going to die. So our goal is always to make sure that there's a healthful success of everybody's yard.
That's amazing.
So so I met her and we did her project, and then it just sort of kept happening. People just kept calling, and it wasn't even a referral from her. It was someone else that said like, oh, I hear you maybe did this thing. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, you want us to do this thing for you too? We can do this thing for you. And then and so last year we just sort of did it. And then this year we've already had twice as many clients in 4 months of this year than we had in all of last year.
Amazing.
So we're not talking like the millions and billions of dollars of the corporations we worked on before, but we're talking about like a slow growth of something that still allows us to like protect our peace and enjoy our lives and, you know, give us this awesome creative outlet and a place to go with it.
I love that.
So tell me about, we're going to backtrack a little bit. So tell me about how it was like re-engaging with the world after this thing happened and trying to figure out what your new purpose was. Like, obviously you've been super successful with figuring out something that you've made. You've literally created this thing.
I don't know about.
Or like the tools that got you there, like the things that you did, the things that
How people can show up for people that are grieving. Because I actually have a client that has just lost both of her parents. And she's got small children, and she's a full-time worker, and her support system, and all of their stuff is in her home. And
that's hard.
I'm trying to help navigate, you know, as an organizer, it's not just about the stuff, it's also the therapy and the mindset, for sure. I'm trying to help her navigate, you know, how to show up for her as, you know, a friend and an organizer with her grief, but also like how to like gently push someone. I can do it with you because you're my bestie and you know all the things, but like from a professional standpoint or even from personal, like what's the best advice that you have?
Right.
It's like, how do you re-engage without like forcing yourself?
Yes, you can't. First and foremost, you cannot force yourself. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but anytime I've ever tried to like force something, it literally has like flung back in my face and been like, no. So I think the best advice, and it really is true, time really does help, but also everybody's different. For me, if this were right after things had happened and I'm telling you about how things had happened, I wouldn't be able to get through it without being a big puddle.
Yeah.
Full stop. I would have been a puddle. You would have been like crying with me.
Yeah.
But it really does feel like the more you talk about it, I don't want to say you're desensitized, but it's like you accept this like reality that it, you know, at first I literally would wake up and be like, that was a bad dream. What, like the whole last 2 years was just a bad dream.
Yeah.
Everything was just a bad dream. Like, this isn't really happening. And then as the day would dawn, I would be like, this is really effing happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is really happening. But I would say that for others to, I guess, engage with me, for me, and Jack and I have talked about this, it really, like, love in action is the best way to describe it. Is servant leadership, love in action. Yeah, when you think about them, don't just be like, oh gosh, they're really going through a lot. Go ahead and send a text and just be like, no need to respond back. I just wanted you to know I'm thinking of you today. And enough, right? Maybe that's enough that they just needed to see that there's someone out there who cared for them.
Yeah.
Maybe they do engage and they needed someone to talk to that day. But the showing up with
Soup and flowers,
or just showing. My mom recently has a good friend of ours and a neighbor of hers. Her daughter was diagnosed with a very serious type of cancer that they're working through. And she's this beautiful, talented mother of two. And so my mom and all of the mom friends were like, what do we do? And I'm like, Mom, here's what you do. You get a house cleaner for her. You send someone over to, like, plant her yard for spring so that when she comes home, it's still a cheerful place and she's not looking around at all the things she wishes she could do, but she can't do.
Right.
You set up a meal train. You offer someone to take her son's senior pictures and do a family photo shoot for them because, God willing, this isn't the last one.
Right.
But, like, it's just love and action. Like, you think about what would I need in this situation. And I really feel like Jack and I had a great support group of people. We have a very supportive family. Both of our mothers were incredible. We have friends that would call and check on us. People would show up, at the hospital. People would show up at our home. Clergymen would show up at our home. And so I feel like that was probably the most powerful thing, was like the love in action. And to be honest, you guys, there is a huge financial component to somebody getting sick and someone dying. And so if you are in a position to either know about someone's financial situation, if they're not in a good one, and to rally behind them either with some kind of GoFundMe or a monthly stipend that you decide that you're going to budget and send them until they're through the dark times, that's a great thing to do. And it's really hard to accept by some people, but that's an incredible thing to do.
It's like an invisible stress of going through a tragedy, is that how are we going to pay for this? Because and then you're also like wanting to stay home or not work and be with your kid or be with your whatever. And that's a huge part of things.
So I think that's how people can engage with someone who's going through anything. I mean, it could even be like they just had a baby and they're in the dark times of newborn as it doesn't have to be just grief. It could be like, I'm going through a time. I lost my job. I lost my, I was in a car accident and I'm just hurting. It could be anything. And like to support people, I think is why we're really all here as people.
Yeah.
Number one, is to like support and love one another because, oh man, I don't know who it was, but I was listening to another amazing podcast like yours where somebody was like, a celebrity who's a very highly, awarded celebrity for their work. And they were like, yeah, it's great, but to have all of these awards, but nobody ever on their deathbed said, bring me all my diplomas and my awards and lay them all on top of me so that I may die awarded human being, No, they want to hold the hands of the people they love, and be in a comfortable spot. And so I think that's how you show up for people, is just love in action.
I say that about new moms, is like, nobody needs you to come over and hold the baby. They need you to do the dishes, do the laundry, like, and sweep the floors, like, just show up with food.
Isn't it weird when you have a baby, though, how you do get tired of holding them, but like when somebody comes over and they're holding them, you're kind of like, you won't give me my baby.
Yeah, well, stop touching it. It's
not even stop touching it, but it's more like, I'm fine to hold my baby.
Yeah, I can do it. I can do this. This is literally the only thing I know how to do right now.
That's it. I've forgotten all other things with this fog.
Oh gosh.
The other thing I wanted to say, this is going to sound super white girl dramatic.
Do it.
But I also feel like Pilates kind of saved my life. And I know that sounds early today.
So that's like the tool.
Yes. Scarlett, you asked me about tools and I was like, how do I take care of myself? What is one thing I can do to take care of myself? Because now that I've been able to get out of bed and shower every day, what's next? If I'm not ready for this, what's next?
Yeah.
And so I knew that I wanted to like take charge of my like physical fitness again. But I knew that I could not handle going into like a big commercial gym with a lot of super sexy people who weren't sad like me and weren't tired from the grief like me. And so I knew I needed to go to like a nurturing place where, and I also didn't want to have to think about like, I'm going in with my Tuesday workout plan and tomorrow's arms day. And today is this and that. And I didn't want to have to like think and organize all of that because my head couldn't handle it.
Right.
I needed someone that would be like, take your left foot, put it here.
But I also loved how you like identified this. You asked yourself these questions, you identify what works for you, and you did just that. You didn't just sort of playbook it as far as, oh, this is what other people do.
You did it with that formal.
Works for them.
I think it was more like I would drive by the gym and I'd be like, oh, no.
Yeah.
No. Then I would drive by the Pilates studio and I'd be like, maybe it's a little tiny place.
Yeah.
There's not that many people in there and they seem like nice people.
And I was telling you too, I'm also not a go to the gym and like be yelled at thing.
Yeah.
And so I would love that, when Yoki yells me. And so, like I say, I want to like lay down on my mat. I don't want to touch people. I don't want people touching me. I want to just like breathe and be in my place. And that's what I love about you.
But like, I won't do everything. I was sick of that.
Yeah. Oh, but see, that's what I love about Pilates is someone's telling you what to do.
Right.
And they're like, further, can you go higher? Can you hold it for 5 more? And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. Okay, I can do that. I can do that. Oh, and then I remember my first class, you guys, there's like this reformer machine and like it slides back and forth and there's springs to make it stronger, or like lighter weight. And actually lighter weight is harder. And you don't really know that at first and all of these things. And I would get on the reformer, but I was like so heavy and out of shape from only being in my garden and in my house for so long that like I would go to get off the reformer and it's like low to the ground, like think like a platform bed or like a futon from the 90s, and I would go to get up and I felt like I was falling off of it all the time, like rolling out really awkwardly. And I was like, one of these days, my goal right now is just to get off this and not look like a jellyfish rolling off of the sand. I'm like, I can do this and not look like a blob rolling out of here. And then like slowly I just started to feel like stronger in my body.
But then you also created a goal within just taking action and doing that one tool, that one thing.
Well, it was also like, you'll get me out of the house every day for something that was like, not just for like me or not. I wanted something healthy that like got me out of the house every day. And so I went and I would do that. And then I remember when and all of the people are so supportive, because one thing about Pilates is like there's someone in there doing some crazy stuff because they know how to do it. And there's someone else that's just starting out and they're like, I'm just here. I'm just here,
Yep.
Let me be here and I can be here. But I remember when, they celebrate your milestones where I go. And when I hit like the 100 class, they have you hold a sign that's like 100 and they have like an instructor come, and I had your instructor take a picture with you, and then the class stands behind you and take a picture. And I had 2 instructors show up to take that class with me because they knew what I'd been through. And they took my picture and I was just like, thank you guys so much. Very appreciate everything. And this is amazing. And it was just like the ugliest cry, but I really did mean it. Like I was so grateful to them for their patience and their grace. And like they would stop and teach me things. And I'm like, I really want to know how to do this, but I'm not strong enough yet. And then fast forward to like a couple months later and I'm like, I feel really effing strong right now. And like I took a class to like level up into like the highest level, and I couldn't do one of like the 10 exercises. And the instructor came over to me and they're like, I'm leveling you up because you're going to get that because you are so strong.
Yeah.
And so there were all these outside voices encouraging me. And like I knew I needed to be in like a nurturing, encouraging environment. Why am I holding out for perfection? Progress over perfection. That's what Holly always says.
We're sticklers on that because our whole industry kind of reflects around that perfectionism, especially in the photos and stuff. And
nobody lives like that.
Have you guys seen not a light life?
The like influencer photos where it like they accidentally took the picture in reverse. Oh, yeah, somebody like uploaded it, and like behind them, it is like okay, and then like you flip forward, and it's literally like the Architectural Digest magazine.
I tell clients that all the time, and when I do post, I also try to show the behind the scenes because those photos are styled. There are like people on set. There's lighting. There's all of the fancy things. And you're not failing if your pantry doesn't look like that. It's not real life. But yeah, we talk about progress over what perfection is. And I think we had those conversations too. Like, just do some like mindless fun work. Yeah. Just keep getting started. One thing that you had touched on earlier, which I want to kind of blow out a little bit, is from being a leader in corporate America, and I mean, being chief of staff and running the show and like being in charge, coming down to have grief and going through something like you did. Like, what are the blind spots that you see with leaders, and how can we change the expectation of like people? Everybody's going through something. Everyone's got shit. Everyone's going through something. And like, what would you say to leaders? Even like, you could think of your old, bosses or executives of like, if you could change this about the way you approach people going through things, or the empathy, like, what would be the most important for that? Because I feel like, everyone's going through something.
Everyone is going through something.
I heard the other day, and I was actually thinking about you when I heard this, and then I'll let you answer the question. Like, you hug somebody long, like, you don't like go first because you don't know how much they need the hug.
Oh my God.
And that's the other,
yes, Hudson does not let go to the point where I'm like, okay, buddy, and you won this round.
And I feel like I've recently, like, I've let go first, and I'm not that person, because I'm the giver. I'm I'm the person that always that shows up. But I feel like there's so much not evil, but there's so much anger, I think, and so much hurt going on, and we know that hurt people. And so, and I found my own corporate experience too, when my boss wasn't being compassionate about things that the team was going through, because I'm the support system. I'm the team. Like, I know about the sick kid, and the mom with the hand, foot, and mouth, and the dad that has the flu, and the mom that just passed away, and all of those things. So I'm like, hey, like, pump the brakes on them, like, delivering this, because there's also real life. I think COVID helped us.
Yeah, I think
feel that.
I think philosophically, like, have compassion.
Yeah.
As a leader, have compassion. Philosophically, give people space to do what they need to do, and without judgment. And also, as a person who's going through it, you don't have to explain yourself to who you're working for. But the more vulnerable you are with that person, the more they will probably have compassion for you. So if you bring them into what you're going through, most likely they'll want to help you. I think if we can focus on the good in people, you'll get the good back out of you. Right. Practically, from a standpoint, it's really important that people at work don't hold so much close to the vest, if you're working in a corporate employee at a corporate position, that if you were to have to be gone, if you were to be hit by a bus, right? We heard that a lot. If you were to be hit by a bus, then the train still needs to keep going. Yeah. There's goals that the company has. There's a financial responsibility that the company has. And there's also other people that work there that need to be able to keep moving forward. Yeah. So if you are going through something, like, making space to take like an hour or two every day to answer any questions is important. And then also, practically, take FMLA if you need it. That's what it's there for. And it could be that, like, you are needing to care for a parent. It could be that you are suffering from depression. It can be that you have diabetes and your medication got messed up and you're just out. But take FMLA when you need it. You actually can take FMLA every year if you need to. So some companies require you to exhaust your vacation time first, and just know that that may be a possibility. But take FMLA if you need it. I think it was so much more important for people to say, I need 2 weeks to deal with the death of my father, right, or my wife had a very traumatic childbirth and she's not well and I need to help with the baby, or I've been in a car accident and I'm not okay. I'm either traumatized or I'm really hurt, or I was mugged and I'm feeling scared. So I'm going to be going to therapy for a week every day. Like, take FMLA, take the time you need to take care of yourself, because at the end of the day, the company is going to take what they need.
Right.
And so your job is to take care of you.
Yeah. And so how do you feel like, and it's kind of like a two-parter question, but what is your growth now? Like, what are your goals now? And then is there anything that you're also just unlearning from all of these experiences? Have you?
Unlearning is so hard, right? Oh my God, unlearning is so hard. That is probably the hardest thing I would say is unlearning. I guess the first thing was, remember when you asked me get up and get shot? How did you do that? How were you at the counter? Part of that is a lifetime of conditioning.
Yes.
I worked since I was 14, and I was always super active in school. I was a student athlete. I was a young mom. I've always worked. I've always felt pride in being able to provide for myself. But I was programmed to get up and get showered and dressed every day, and also taking this space to be in your feelings feels counterintuitive to me.
Yeah.
And so, not that I don't feel those feelings, but laying there ruminating in them for me makes them sink into the bell jar a little bit more. And so getting up and moving forward and being grateful and practicing gratitude that I'm still breathing every day. I still have my life to live. I don't want to be a disservice to Hunter by wasting more than his life, by wasting my life or not, enjoying what I have. There's so many people that have it so much worse, We have a close family friend that has 4 sons, and they lost a son a few years ago, and then they lost another son a couple weeks ago. So we're about to, have a significant parental holiday, and half of their children are gone. So it's wild. So there are people that everybody's going through something, but I do think that, being grateful for the fact that you have the day to do what you want with it. And, the unlearning is really hard. I would say that's probably one of the hardest things. One of the biggest things that I had a hard time with, and one of my friends, Kristen, was in a text conversation with me, really encouraging me to see things in a different way, was being the financial contributor to our household that I once was. And the little financial contributor I am now in comparison to what I once was. And, she at one point had 3 kids under 5, and she had to make the decision to stay home and take care of them because, one, it was just a lot of money. And 2, her and her husband determined that her service would be better towards the family at this point in their life. And she's a highly intelligent person. So she said that was really hard for her too. And not being a contributor, a financial contributor. And that she said her husband had said, but you contribute so much more to our family than a paycheck. And I'm telling my husband about that. And he goes, is that why you think I love you? That's not why I love you. I don't love you for the money you bring to the table. And so much more than that. And he said, I don't love you for your level of productivity during the day. You're more than your productivity. You're more than a check. He's like, I love you for other reasons. I love you for how you make me feel. I love you for the joy you bring into my life. And so he's a real gem, but he's a real jack. You've got a real jack. He's still, but that was some unlearning that I had to do, because as women and coming up, it was you either are a mother who stays home and takes care of the house, or you are a provider, or you're a financial contributor. And I felt like I had to be all of the things for so long. But really those conversations with people and sharing those vulnerabilities I was having and getting feedback about them really allowed me to think through how I felt about those issues. And it kind of allowed me to love myself a little bit more. It allowed me to say, I'm not these things. I'm all of these other things. And I think that that's only because of my husband and my friends that are I don't care where you work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember when you were kids, you didn't know what your friends' parents did? No. You just knew you loved so-and-so's mom was the coolest, or so-and-so's dad was so fun outside when y'all were playing the pool because she threw you around.
Yeah.
Who knew what their parents did for a living? I didn't know. I didn't know, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter how I felt about them. It mattered how they showed up. It mattered how they showed up. It mattered how they had fun with you, how they engaged with you. And So that's really something that I think I focus on more now, is really how I live my life, not what I do to live my life.
Oh, that's, yeah. I love her.
Oh, guys, I love you so much, friend. I do want to touch on one more thing. I knew that your faith was a big part of your journey.
Absolutely.
And I want to acknowledge that and just give you any space to talk about how that was such an influence for you.
Yeah, I will say that there were times where you just pray so hard. You would pray so hard to God to be like, fix my baby, bring my baby back to me, while he was sick. And I know that my husband really struggled with anger towards God because he felt a lot of unanswered prayers. And but I will say that there were so many spaces along the way where we were reminded that like God is good all the time. And when I say that, it may be shocking for someone to say that who lost their son, but God is good all the time, because during the time we were going through this, God offered provision for our family so that I could stay home and take care of Hunter. God provided my husband with the success to be able to do that for us. God provided us with everything we needed to make his life the best it could be. God provided us with a safe home for my husband to come home, and for us just to love on both of our boys during the time. And God provided us with spiritual guidance in the form of a pastor named Graham Golding, who was incredible. And, you know, he helped us understand that like grief is this like backpack full of bricks that you carry around every day, and that it never really goes away. But over time, you just become stronger.
Yes.
And that backpack feels lighter. Right. Even though it's still full of bricks, you're just strong enough to carry it. And so he really helped us with that. And our faith is really one of the only things that kept us positive through this, because every day we would say, thank you, God, for another day with Hunter.
Yeah.
Thank you for another Christmas where our family has gathered around to show him love. Thank you for the patience and the grace of the workers that come to wash him every day. Thank you for, you know, the friends and family that are in our lives and support us. Thank you for the love that we still have between us, because a lot of people struggle with that when they are in a situation like this. And we give God all of the praise for those things and for like fortifying us with the strength to like continue on. And because of our faith in God and Jesus Christ, we believe that we will be reunited and merge back together with Hunter on Sunday. So that is, if anybody is going through it, it's hard to start praying. And I just say that you start with praise, and then you ask for what you want, and then you just yield and listen. It's very meditative, and you will find peace in that. God will provide you peace with whatever you're going through, for sure.
Whatever God it is.
Whatever God it is.
Whatever God it is. Well, I am so honored that you were here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so proud of both of you. This is incredible what you guys do. I went to somebody's house that you had done some work in, and I'm like, this person needs her, number one. And that you've inspired so much creativity in this person to think about their space and how they want to tackle it is really cool. It's kind of interesting. What we do is really similar in a way. Like I'm organizing at the outside while you guys organize the inside.
Check him out.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your story.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
I feel like your story is very inspiring and just a very powerful message.
Everybody is going through something.
Yeah.
That is, if there's anything I can leave people with today, is that be kind and love people, because everybody is going through something, whether they're an extrovert like me that can talk about it, or whether they're quieter like my husband and would rather not talk about it, but just manage his feelings. Like, I mean, that's okay too. Like, we're both dealing in our own ways, you know?
Oh, 100%.
Thank you guys so much for being here with us today. And Adrian, thank you for sharing your story.
Yes.
Adrian and Kelly, they have an Instagram, but they're not actively doing social media.
Right. We haven't needed to.
Yeah. They say it's a word of mouth. So, but we will put how to get in contact with her. And if you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them. And we'll see you guys next time.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Bye.
The Honest Edit Podcast. unpacking the truth about life's messes, one honest conversation at a time. With your host, Scarlett, the no-fluff, get-it-done mindset coach, and Holly, your go-to for all things practical, balancing chaos with compassion.